Yesterday, I had a great day for the most part of it. The first 3 quarters of my day yesterday was really good. And then I listened to a podcast of an interview between two men. And one man was a Christian man, Christian historian, brilliant guy, very, very smart guy, a lot smarter up here than I am. And I'm okay with saying that. I'm okay with that. I understand that there are a lot of other smarter um, men than I am, and that's fine. Um, but when I watched this podcast interview, I found myself being bombarded with all these thoughts and lies that I'm not good enough, that I'm not smart enough. Even though I knew and I was okay with the fact and the reality that this guy, who in fact was 10 years younger than me, was way smarter than I am. And so I knew that was true, but the Bible says that Satan is the father of lies. There's no truth in him at all. Jesus said that he is the way, the truth, and the life. And so as Christians, we are up against lies all the time. And I got hit massively yesterday. The lies came and I started to believe them. I started to believe that even though I'm smart, I'm not as smart as this guy, but the lie was that I'm not smart enough for what God has given me to do as a husband, as a father, as a pastor, as a Christian leader. He started bombarding me with lies saying that I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough for what God has given me to do. Now, that's not true. And I know that's not true. But yesterday, I started to believe that it was the truth, that I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough. I'm not educated enough. Who am I? I don't understand enough about the things of God and of the things of the scriptures. And who am I to lead other people in the ways of God? Like, the ways of God, me. And it really hit me massively yesterday. And I'm not going to lie, I was very, very discouraged yesterday. And if I'm honest with you, I'm still feeling the weight of that discouragement today. That's how brutal the attacks of the enemy can be. That's how much we have to be on guard, friends. We're in a war. And in Ephesians chapter 6, it says, above all, hold up the shield of faith, which will block the fiery darts of the evil one. And I believe that those fiery darts represent the lies of the enemy, the lies against God's people. And so I was really heavy last night and I went out walking my dog. My wife through our evening was saying, "Are you fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just tired." I didn't want to get into, conversation about it with her. So I went for a walk with my dog and I called my friend and I told him about it and he prayed for me. And it really encouraged me that he prayed for me. It felt good just to release that off of my mind to a trusted brother. But the heaviness still remained. And like I said earlier, I woke up today feeling it. And I want to share this very openly with you that whatever the Lord has called you to, he will give you everything that you need for that thing, for that position, for that job, for that responsibility. I heard somebody once say that God doesn't call the equipped, but he equips the called. And I believe that's true. I mean, God called simple men and women to be used by him. You read about it in the scriptures. He used fishermen, tax collectors. He used a prostitute in Rahab. Like, God uses anybody that is willing. He's not just looking down at his planet saying, where are all the people with a PhD or a lot of letters before their name? I'm not big on titles and positions. That's fine. I'm not against it either. But God is not looking at that. God is looking for a heart that is willing to be used by him. And when he finds that man or woman who's willing to be used by God, he will give them everything they need. Now, that doesn't mean we just sit back and say, God, do what you want. We have work to do. We have to study to show ourselves approved, like the Bible says. We have to prepare ourselves. We got to be reading our scriptures and listening to sermons and podcasts and growing in the things and understanding when it comes to God or whatever it is that you are into, whatever God's called you to. We don't just do nothing and expect God to do everything. But the reality is, what it comes down to is, don't believe the lies that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you don't have everything that you need to do what God's called you to do. God has given it to you already. And my friend last night, he called me today again and left a voice DM on my phone. And he told me this sentence in this, and it really encouraged me. He said to me, Matt, I understand what you were feeling yesterday. And but he's like, I know the kind of man you are. I know you'll rise above it. And you know what? It's by the grace of God. I've risen above it. Here I am telling you about it as well. And so I hope that encourages you, and just don't allow those lies to take root. Get rid of them. Don't dwell on them at all. They're lies. They're not true. You have everything you need for what God's called you to do, and you are smart enough. God bless.